Hello everyone, here is Fan Reviews episode 3, and this episode is going to feature this 1990s Cinni 16-inch pedestal fan. Now I actually got this fan, I think like pretty much this time last week, and I got it off eBay as it was originally a bid and I won it for about £20, which is not too bad of a price for one of these Cinnis. Then the day before I went to go collect it, the seller messaged to say the fan stopped working, but I was still happy to collect for free. And so I did just that. I collected the fan for free. And, well, luckily I have managed to fix the issue. Because you're curious, the original cord was dud. The original cord just stopped working properly. Fitted a new cable onto it, as you can see, it's on the original cable. It ran fine. It runs completely fine now. So yeah, with that sorted, I can pretty much get on to reviewing it, because I pretty much, this was just a case of I've seen these fans everywhere. I've heard good things about them, so I want to get one for myself, but I don't want to pay a lot, so I want to get one for cheap, like I did this one, so I can review it and give my personal thoughts on the fan. It'll be reviewed like a Buying Air 2 call, which is pretty much just over there, so that makes it quite hard. But I've got the 4 categories: design, build quality, airflow and noise level. But before that, let me show you the sides and the back and the information tag. Here is the side view. And here is the back view. Here is the information tag. 220 to 240 volts, 50 Hz, 60 to 80 watts, 400mm model, or 16-inch pedestal fan, model or number PL22622. And it's by National Window in India. CE. And those are air vents for the coils inside here, because this thing is powered by coils rather than like multi-speed motor, a bit like a GC. You've got speed coils on there. Let's begin with the design category, and this category I've got the most written down. I've got so much written down for the design category because there is so much to go over in this fan. Now, one of the 2 things that I heard a lot of people talking about in terms of positivity of this fan, or these Cinni fans, was the serviceability and how user-friendly they are. And I got to agree. From my experience of servicing this fan and fitting a new cable, it's a simple fan to work on. Very, very simple. Everything came apart with ease. The only difficult part to take off was the motor, where it got a bit stuck. But luckily, there's actually 2 holes in either side of the motor. Hole and a hole. 2 more holes here. Now, whenever these holes are actually for, like helping you pry the motor open, or if they're like extra cooling vents, I don't know. But they were very helpful for prying the motor off, because this motor was quite stuck together, which I appreciate. That's bonus points for me. This fan features 2 oil ports. You can see a little hole there at the front, where that's your front bearing oil port. And right there, that hole there, right above the oscillator, is your back bearing oil port. Despite of their tiny size, these oil ports, they're surprisingly effective at drinking oil. Yeah, I was finding them very effective. They were drinking oil very well. Even though I had the motor stripped down, I still used them to get to the other side of the oil wicks. And also, oil wicks and bearings and whatnot held in with screws. So this means they shouldn't come loose with use. Can't rhyme with it at all. Like that is an issue that SMCs have from my experiences, because they don't have really anything holding them in. The bearings loosen over time and it jams up and the motor fails, which doesn't seem to be an issue on these, which I like. Now this fan features your standard tilt adjustment, which features, the usual, you loosen the knob, you adjust it to your position and you tighten that knob. But the strange aspect, and I'll show you, there's a tilt adjustment knob. There's another. We got 2 on this fan. Why, I do not know, but one good thing about it, it means that if you tilt it to your desired position, it means it will most likely hold there better, as there's now two things holding it in place, so it won't slip or anything. Let's actually see if we can loosen. Like, if we loosen this one, it, as you can see, still holds in place. Let's loosen the other one. The fan tilts down that far. That's quite good, especially for the height. This fan's around 5'8" in terms of its height. So it tilts down quite far, which is very good. However, that's as far as it tilts up, which is terrible. Doesn't tilt up very far. At least it tilts down further. And if you compare it to the modern Chrome variants that basically just knock off these, the tilt adjustment range is way better, to be fair. Now, because of having two knobs for the tilt adjustment, there's a higher chance that one of them may seize up. And this one did actually suffer that. The one on the right, as you can see there, was seized. But luckily, if you can get a good grip on it with pliers, it will come off, it will budge, which is very neat. But that's something to keep in mind, it may seize up. But at least it's not the worst thing to fix. As long as you get pliers with a nice open gap, which I got, typically like pipe pliers, they're very effective at doing that. Now, interestingly enough, if we take a look at the base, you can see little studs all around it. I think that is to help stabilize it, to stop it from falling over, which is good, because if you look at the Pakistan pedestal fan I've got, it has a base like this, but it doesn't have that, and it looks like it has taken, I think that one has taken a fall at some point in its life, whereas this one has something to help prevent it, more stabilizers. But underneath there, which you can't really see, there's wheels. This fan has wheels underneath it for transportation. Why? Why I do not know. I'm guessing due to its weight, because well, it's not the heaviest fan ever, but it weighs about 13 kilograms, which is more than what I was expecting. I was expecting this to weigh about 8, but 13 is very good. That's good heavy weight, indicating it's going to be good. There's going to be some quite tough metal there. Not as heavy as a Morale, but to be fair, I wasn't expecting it to be. I wasn't expecting it to be heavier than the limits. That really surprised me. I think I already mentioned this, but the way the speed control system is done on this fan is through like speed coil transformers, a bit like a GEC bullet 16-inch desk fan. And it's held in together with screws and nuts, like a GEC bullet 16-inch desk fan. However, I find this one easier to work on than a bullet 16-inch, just due to everything so much easier to get to a place. Visually, the fan does look like a rip-off of those 4-speed KDK fans. You know, I've got one, 14-inch. It just looks like a rip-off of one of them, I will be honest. It does. So visually, it's nothing hugely special. It's really not. I do believe these go for the replica antique fan look though. I do believe they do try to replicate that. With like a motor, its design and the speed control switch and whatnot. Here's the original cord to the fan. This is a 15-foot cord. This fan would have had a 15-foot cord because I measured it. I think I measured it from like around here, not excluding this inside bit for where it'd be wired up, and it's around 15 foot. That is very good cord length. It's not the longest for a 90s fan though, but from my experience, 90s fans typically do have some good cord lengths. Micro Mark fans, even the Chinese ones, had good cord lengths. They were around like 9 foot. I think I've seen T16 pedestals with stupidly long cord lengths. Pifco fans, I've got 2 from different manufacturers as well. Both of them have, one has 15 foot, the other has a 17 foot cord. And even with like, I think Leuchtron is the only SMC manufacturer I've seen that sold SMC fans with good cord lengths. So yeah, overall, it's not the longest of Cinni, but it's still very good. 15 foot is very impressive. This one's going to need a bit of a visual explanation. Here's just a motor shaft that came out of another pedestal fan. if we can focus, you can notice this at the back, this like little gear that they engrave into the back of these shafts to turn the oscillator. This Cinni doesn't have this in the back, but rather has a little metal pole that slips on the back of the shaft with that engraving in it. It sounds a bit pointless at first to do that. It's held in with a screw, so you move a screw and then you take it off. It sounds a bit pointless at first, and I do like to think of it as a double-edged sword. As having it with it, having like this segment screwed on and removable rather than have it engraved on, means that when you strip the motor down, any like old grease and whatnot that builds up here, because it typically does, will not be dragged through the back bearing and gun up that back bearing. I mean, most of the time you should clean it out anyways, but it can happen, and it's really annoying when that happens, in my opinion, when it gungs up and just leaves gun coil in the back bearing. It means it basically ensures that really doesn't happen, which I like. But the bad aspect about it, it will make reassembling a motor a bit more of a faff, because now when you're slipping a shaft through the back bearing, you have to make sure that this segment at the end is lined up so you can slip it into the oscillator as well. So it is like another step in reassembly. It does make it a bit more annoying to reassemble, but it's not a huge amount, and it does stop like grease, like old gunky grease from potential old gunky grease from getting inside the back bearing, which I don't like. Well, I don't like the old grease getting in. I like it. I do like that overall. Maybe I'm being unfair, I don't know. Last thing to mention for the design category, yes, this being like a goddamn essay at this point, is look at that speed control switch. It's at like perfect sitting height. Basically, when I was working on it, fitting this new cable, I was just sat in my chair. I've got an office chair in my bedroom. I was just sat in it because it's at perfect height to work on while sat in the chair, which is very convenient if you're lazy and like sitting down rather than standing up to work on fans. It's perfect for that. But you will have to stand up to work on the motor and whatnot because it's too tall to sit down for it. Whereas a more modern pedestal fan would be a better height for that. Overall, I would give the fan, as I've written down here, 82 out of 100 for build quality. That is a really good score. No, not build quality, sorry. Design. That's a really good score. It's mainly as it's a very serviceable fan. It's easy to service, and it was very enjoyable to service. The only thing that lacks in it is its visual design. It's a bit it's not the best, due to it just being a replica antique fan, so it's not really an original idea, really. Now let's move on to build quality. Build quality, I would have guessed, at least when these fans were like first sold, I don't know, when some stores in the 90s, I would have guessed these would have had a more premium price slapped on them rather than other fans like SMCs, which would have had a more cheaper price. At least I'm guessing. Like the Bionair 2 Cool in the 2000s, which also had a premium price. But at least in this fan, unlike the unlike the Bionair 2 Cool, this fan's build quality actually feels premium, because the Bionair 2 Cool had a premium price, but the build quality felt like it felt cheap. It honestly felt like the build quality of an SMC or even slightly worse. Whereas this, much better build quality, this fan. Yeah, basically, the build quality of it, especially for a 90s van, is especially and surprisingly good. It's an almost all metal construction with like a couple tiny bits that are plastic, like the speed control knob and the tilt adjustment knob, basically really minor things like that. The metal it uses is surprisingly difficult to bend. Even though there is a dent in the base on this, that metal really doesn't bend. It's very tough. Much tougher than those modern chrome variants you get these days. Much tougher in construction. However, one thing I don't like about these fans is their pitch is poor. Look at that for pitch. That is poor. Although that's still more than the modern chrome variants. Still more than them. But like those fans are exceptionally bad for pitch. Like the 10-inch one, which I still have, I actually gave it more pitch because I was tired of the pitch being so poor. If you bend the back rail, that seems quite flimsy, doesn't it? But that's due to the fact that each grill segment you can see here, when slotted into the centerpiece back here, it's just slotted in. It's not welded in or anything, it's just slotted in. That's all. And because of this, they move about quite freely in there, which allows you to do that, you know. It allows you to move the grill a bit. If they were welded in place, it would be a lot harder. You wouldn't be able to do that. It would be a lot more tougher. Why they have done that, no clue. I think that is original. But what if that is original? Why have they done that? I don't get the point. It just seems like a bit of a dumb thing to do. But I mean, it could be worse. These fans aren't the most reliable. They aren't the most reliable fans ever built. Obviously not. There are much more reliable options, but they're still reliable. They still are. Because fun fact, the seller which I got this fan off had owned it 30+ years. No issues in that time until when they decided to sell it, and then the cord died, and the cord just stopped working for some reason. Even when they plug it wasn't having any of it. I still don't know what's wrong. I still don't know why. But oh well. But I will say, these fans, in terms of reliability, they are superior to most of what the 90s had to offer. The only fans I can think of that can rival them are probably like those Taiwanese Pivgos, which are surprisingly reliable motors, or maybe an Exploratorus fan, like a 90s one. Those are the only ones I can think of. The rest, yeah, this fan is superior. Another negative about these fans is the oscillators are never known to be the most reliable. It has the same design as or similar design to the Exploratorus oscillators, where you twist a knob to engage it. But they aren't the most reliable. Quite a few of them are going to fail on the oscillator. A bit like an Italian fan. Well, I don't think they're as unreliable as an Italian fan, but still not the best. And then I've already mentioned the weight of this fan. Overall, build quality, a 73 out of 100. I know that's surprisingly high, but it's a surprisingly sturdy and tough fan in its construction. I was not expecting that, especially because it looks like those modern chrome fans you get these days, which are just tin cans basically. But this is much superior to one. Its build quality, much tougher construction, thicker, tougher metals. I don't actually know what it's made out of. Airflow. I guess we should get on running it. Goodness knows how long the video is at this point. We still haven't run it. It's just been so much, compared to the Bio 2 call, there's been so much to say about the Cinni. We've got it facing off to the side, so you know you're not blasted with wind noise. And let's run it. Here's low. It's quite a loud low, I will be honest. As you can hear, it is quite loud. As you like to do noise level at the same time as airflow. It's just convenient. It's currently drawing about 51 watts on low. And I have written down the maximum readings I've got on my anemometer. 1,082 feet per minute on low. That's pretty good for a low. That's pretty good for a low. Here's medium. There's very little difference if you can't tell. And yet it draws about 54 watts. The difference in low and medium is insanely small. And the maximum reading I've gotten is 1,102 feet per minute. Yeah, again, it's still a good breeze. The fan moves, the fan is a good air mover. But, and the main thing that does hold it back in airflow, the difference in speed is very little, and that's poor. That's not good. Although its performance is almost identical to a GEC Bullet 16-inch desk fan. However, it is loud. It is a loud fan. Hi. We're currently drawing about just under 65 amps. 65 amps? 65 watts. I'll be worried if it was drawing 65 amps. Whoops. But yeah, 64.5 watts now. But the maximum reading we've got on high is 1,180 feet per minute. That is the same number that I got on my GC Bullet 16-inch desk fan, which shows it's a good air mover. It moves a good breeze, these fans. But it is loud. It is loud. Like a GC Bullet 16-inch desk fan, you can expect the same performance. But as stated there, the speed difference is poor. It's not good. If someone wants, because I feel like the ideal for airflow is not only to be powerful, but also have a wide difference in speed. So like a nice slow, low for gentle breeze, and a fast high for power. Like the KDK does that quite well. Actually, KDK pedestal. It's got a slow low, riding it still quite solid for gentle breeze, and then you've got powerful high. This thing's just powerful, and more powerful. That's basically what it is on its free speed. Let's show the oscillator. It does not have 5-way oscillation. Although I've never known a fan with a twisty oscillator type to have one. The KDK does though. Its oscillator is just very bog standard, nothing special there. The oscillation range it's not bad. It's also quite standard. It's better than the binary simple for certain. It's very quick to, I don't know why. Or now let's turn the fan off. Let's take a look at the spin down, which is not very good on it, even after oiling. This won't affect the review, just for a bit of fun. It's not very good, but oh well. Still, it's drawing in between what it's rated, so it's not bad. Not bad. It's not drawing like massively over, which is good. Now for airflow, I have given the fan a 67 out of 100 because it's a good air mover. But the main thing that holds it back is its lack of speed selection. And it also, I forgot to mention as well, it moves air a good distance as well, which I like. Noise level. Noise level is by far the weakest category for this fan. By far. It just does so poor in noise level. It's loud. You can get like a Tatung pedestal fan which moves, I think, just a tiny bit more while being quieter. But it is a lot rarer. I forgot to mention the availability. These fans are very common, these Cinnis. Very easy to find. As common as an SFC, I think. So that is a good aspect of them. They're extremely common fans. Which means finding one won't be hard. But yes, noise level is its weakest category. It's loud. I have encountered louder though, but I have encountered quieter. But one thing I will give it, it has pretty nice, at least in my opinion, a pretty nice startup sound. And it has a pretty neat hum to it. When it's not when you play, well, before like the blade noise kicks in. Overall, noise level gets a 34 out of 100, which is its lowest category by a long margin. This puts the fan at a total score of 256 out of 400, which tops episode 1 and 2 fans. This puts it at number 1, which is very impressive. The final thing to mention, personal thoughts. What do I think of the fan? This fan has grown on me a lot, I will be honest. When I first got it, I wasn't the most fond of it. I thought, I mean, it's something. But after owning it, I've owned it for a week now, and I've worked on it, I've grown to like it a lot more. I've been liking it more and more the longer I've had it. I don't know what it is. The surprisingly sturdy build quality, or the surprisingly easy to work on nature of it, really helps out. The performance is, I mean, it's not the best, if we're being honest, it's really not. But I would say the performance is, it's good for most people. I reckon it's very sufficient for most people and for most users. It could work in like for example, a fan like this would work wonders in a kitchen. Well, I know, because I work in a kitchen. It's not fun, but yeah, I do. A fan like this would work wonders in there. Maybe I might put this in the kitchen. I don't know. Don't know if there's really space to put a pedestal fan in there. I'll have to see. But yeah, its build quality and serviceability is very good, especially for a 90s fan. I'll say it's probably up there for a 90s fan. It's like one of the top ones, probably like one if not the top for the 90s. It just outperforms so much from the 90s as well. But the main thing that lets it down is its noise level. It is loud. But if you don't mind noise, it's an excellent choice, I'd say. They're common, they're easy to find. The only concern, people charge insane prices for one. I'd say the max you should probably pay for one, if we're going one in very good condition, 45 quid max, I'd say. No more than 45 quid. I don't think they're worth more than that. Even then, we're talking about like a pedestal one in very good nick. So, take that for granted. I do think this fan is perfect for maybe like someone who likes the good look of those modern chrome fans that you see, but wants one that's actually good. Because they do these as a chrome version, but I prefer the black, if I'm being honest. I just prefer the black over the chrome. I think it looks nicer. I think the black is more common than the chrome though, but I prefer the black. What you got to remember, this is my first experience with an Indian made fan. These fans are made in India. Most of the knockoff ones that you usually see are made in China. I think all of them are. But these are Indian made. And it's my first and only Indian fan currently. I may get more in the future. There was one on eBay, which I really did want to get, but someone beat me to it. I think you would know who it is, but hey, at least a fan collector bought it, so I'm not complaining about that. I like this fan a lot. I would recommend it if you don't really mind about noise level, want a fan that's good height and moves a good breeze while being reliable. This is a good choice. I like it. I really do. I do prefer other pedestal fans that I own, like the KDK or the Morelli or the Tatong. But it's not like I dislike this. I do like this fan a lot. That's my review. It's surprisingly good. And oh yeah, ask a question, which I'm thinking of the question of the title would be overrated, well rated, or underrated. In my opinion, I think they're a little overrated. I do. It doesn't mean they're bad. I think they're still surprisingly good fans. But I've seen people make them out to be like the best fans ever. They're not. But they are still very good fans. They are. Especially for 90s, they are especially good. They are good. They are good. But like I said, just because it's been deemed overrated doesn't mean it's bad. Something can still be overrated and be very good, Whereas something can still be underrated and be very bad. Yeah. But there's my opinion. What do you think of this fan? I've got a feeling this comment section might be quite divided, because I feel that some people may like these fans and some people may hate them. But hey, I'll just see how it goes, you know? Because at least with buying their too cool, not many people like those fans. And I can see why, because they're not that great, if I'm being honest. But it was just a case of, I've seen them, I was curious what one was like, so I picked one up for cheap. That's typically what this fan review series would be. Just fans I've seen about quite a bit and I'm curious what they're like. I'll pick them up for cheap and review them. The Pakistan pedestal fan is probably going to be the next episode. Or something, I don't know. The next episode maybe, I don't know what I'll be. Maybe I might go older. Because I think the oldest are kind of the Piff guy. The late 80s. I think this fan's 90s at least. I think it is. Anyways, I've rambled on so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and see ya!